Miles Davis. I worked for BMW for about 10 years, riding a lot of the models, especially the GS range. And I thought with the new Rallye X coming out, it'd be a great opportunity to tick a box and race Finke and see if we can get a 1200 GS to the finish, something that I don't think's been done before.
Miles Davis is going to contest the Finke Desert Race on a BMW R1200 GS Rallye X. Davis, who has spent the last 10 years or so working for BMW, believes that racing the bike in the Finke will be a really good way to showcase the new Rallye X's abilities in really tough off-road conditions. The Finke will be immediately followed by a customer ride program that will traverse the Simpson Desert's 1100 sand dunes running from Alice Springs to Birdsville via Mount Dare.
So we're here at Park 4MX motocross track because it's a great place to test the bike, see how it works on the rough terrain. There's some jumps, there's some bumps, some berms, it gets a bit sandy. Finke's a long way away, so it's great to check the bike out before we go. Show you a bit about the electronics on the bikes. They're at a really impressive level now. So it might be good if we get you all on this grandstand over here.
I like to call it the brown snake grandstand.
So who's never seen one of our demos before? Yeah, cool. Who's first time riding with like all the traction and ABS and all that stuff? Anyone? Yeah, cool. So, ABS was on the first Beamers in the mid-80s. Pretty high-tech stuff for back in the day, but obviously like any tech, it just gets better and better. The first ABS system probably saved a lot of lives, but probably a good rider could maybe outperform it, but that's not the case now. So we've got ABS for wet, for all conditions, including off-road, which we mentioned earlier. So we'll just demonstrate an emergency brake on bitumen only.
I might come that way.
Yeah, come that way. You're just going to have dirty tyres, but that's okay. That'll be a bit more of a... And hit the brakes pretty much in front of us.
Yeah.
And yeah. So we're going to do just quickly spin through this basic stuff, an on-road ABS test. With off-road tyres, there's a nice bit of burn on them. The ABS at this point is not calibrated with bitumen. So with this ABS, in Melbourne, we can ride around on wet tram tracks along them and smash the brakes front and back as hard as you can, and you won't crash. It's calibrated to not let
Beautiful.
Amazing, eh? You hit the brakes right here, and it leaves a pretty impressive mark where it's a knobby tyre, yeah? So there's gaps, and you can see it's leaving a mark, but at no point is it locking up. And even in that situation, that's about as tricky as you could do for an on-road test. Damp, dirty tyres. It pulled up like there was an anchor in the bitumen. And even with those imperfect tyres, it didn't run on. The ABS didn't sort of send the bike forward because it was sensing slip. It's a really good example of how well the tyres can work. And there was no lack of stability at all. Yeah, like you can just smash it. You can put a beginner on there and just say smash the brakes as hard as you can. So in an emergency, that's how you brake. And the bike will protect you, whether it's wet, bit of diesel, bit of sand, it's going to do the best job. If Shane did the same thing at the same speed with the imperfect sort of setup here, I guarantee he would have finished up stopping a bit further on, and it would have been a wild ride. But at his skill level, he would have done it, but not many people have been teaching off-road instruction since they were this big. So, you know, put a normal person on there and they're going to go through that white fence and they're going to crash before they get to the fence. So that's what it does for you. Transition. So now we're going to do it the other way. He's going to hit the brakes on the bitumen, but run it into the dirt. So this is like if you're running wide on a corner or something. Pick the bumpiest bit.
Good job.
That's all right. Hit the brakes. It's leaving a mark. It's not locking up. It's calibrating. It's adjusting the brake pressure up to say 250 times a second. You notice how you pick the whoop section.
I just said I picked a nice line, didn't I?
So,
Probably need to look at that.
the moral of the story is it doesn't matter if the conditions change, if you go from manhole cover, wet manhole cover, you know, imagine how that would put bikes down over the years in the rain in an emergency. Give up, you just might as well jump off the back. But that's, you know, we say it's almost uncrashable now. We don't want to say it's uncrashable because some people have a lot of skill in that area. But you can see it's nearly, and he hit the whoops.
I know. I knew I was like, as soon as I saw him, but I was like, I'm committed.
You know, and it doesn't matter what you do pretty much. You,
It didn't flinch.
no.
Oh.
And a road ABS is not going to be perfect in the dirt because it's sensing slip and it's going to slip in the dirt. If this was a freshly gravelled road ABS would be sensing a lot of slip and releasing a lot. It's not sensing a lot of slip here, so the brakes are on more than they're off, but you put a road ABS on sand or gravel and that's where better riders can outperform that. And in previous models you'd be able to turn off ABS. Skilled rider can cope most of the time without crashing. A novice, probably better leaving it on. But now we just punch it in enduro mode. So we'll do same thing, but it'll hit the brakes here, I reckon. So that's, the bike is still going to be really stable, but it's sort of semi-locking up. The wheels are travelling at 20 while the bike's travelling at 30. So it's doing a partial skid all the time. But not enough to make it feel... So there's more skid going on there. It'd be nicer to be on different surfaces, but it's actually leaving more of a skid mark compared to this. Even though that was in the air half the time, you can see it's skidding here. So that's Enduro ABS. The bike will be affected a little bit by the camber, and if you go, I want to grab the rear brake, you might be able to change the bike's angle a little bit because it does skid a little bit, but the ABS won't let you lock up the back wheel and do a 180 on a track when you want to do a U-turn or something. So the next level up, Shane's probably going to show some rear brake skids. I mean, we're going to simulate this basically because all the bikes have the Enduro Pro plugs removed. So let's just say we're going to Enduro Pro now and just maneuver the bike a bit. So in Enduro Pro, skid it to turn, or you can back it in and drift if you're an experienced off-road rider. So that's if you can lock up around, get over a log at 90 degrees, or to squeeze through a gap in some debris on the road or whatever it might be. So quite crashable if you don't manage the rear brake well. So a novice off-road's probably better leaving the plug out and going in Enduro mode, but an experienced off-road rider is probably going to pop Enduro Pro. That's been the dream mode for experienced off-road riders, and we only got it since 2013. So that's Enduro Pro. So that's ABS. ABS is braking. The moral of the story with braking is you've got an amazing system that helps you control the bike's speed. You put a 90-degree corner here, or there, whatever. If you don't use those brakes, and you get into the corner too quick, or you don't use them enough, you can't go fast around a slow corner. So you've got an opportunity to just go from 100 to 40 like that to go around a corner. If you go from 100 to 80 and try to go around a right-hand corner, the ABS doesn't help you once you've entered the corner. ABS Pro, yeah, for sure, it does. It's lean angle sensitive. So it may, if you're marginal, it may save you. As the bike leans, even if you've got it pulled on, it reduces the brake pressure to the pads as the lean angle goes up. So it's like a trail braking system. Advanced braking, but the computer does it. But the moral of the story here is if you get mid-corner and you're going way too fast, yeah, that's all right. I got a fluoro vest on.
You pull him over. Yeah.
If you've got to pick your speed for a corner, and this happens when we do test rides on the racetrack. Someone is too fast, that you're going to run out of tyre or you're going to run out of road. Basically, run out of skill. You went into a slow corner fast, and some riders can manage that with pure skill, and other riders sit on a crash, and then they'll usually blame the tyres or something. It wasn't their fault. So the moral of the story is use the use the brakes well. Don't get into a situation where you're in a slow corner too fast, but you can see what the possibilities are. So that's the braking story. Wheel speed sensors, managing the brakes. Now we go to traction control. Traction controls exiting corners or using your gas, using your throttle. Understand the difference. Some people get confused when they're looking at the bike systems. So ABS doesn't help you on a corner exit, it helps you on a corner entry. Traction control helps you in a wheel spin situation.
Rain mode?
Yeah, rain mode. So when the roads are diabolical, and you got 130 odd horsepower, and you go full throttle. So it's on full throttle with 130 on a bit of damp dirt, it transitions to bitumen, and it just cuts power. We do this again on tram tracks. Brakes on tram tracks and then throttle on tram tracks. And if you can do that on wet tram tracks, or in that instance, you know, you'll feel confident riding on wet bitumen. That's rain mode. Takes away that, oh, should I overtake the truck? I know there's a kilometre of straight road and it's clear. But if you are on a bike without traction control and you just pick the wrong time to open the gas and you hit a bit of diesel or a painted line or a reflector or something, you can be doing a 180 before you know it. You know, if you've got a pillion on the back and it's diabolical, you know, that can be very unfriendly. Bitumen, when it's wet, can be super grippy, like a bit of emery cloth, or it can be like a piece of black, wet glass. And as a rider, it's hard to pick. So the traction control senses the loss of traction and cuts power. And it's really, really hard to crash a bike with traction on in rain mode on wet roads. Some roads are diabolical, and I'm sure it can still happen, but you can see what advantage it gives you. And because you know you've got the system, and maybe you've done a test in a grassy paddock or something, when you're riding, you ride more relaxed. When you ride in the rain more relaxed, you ride better. If you ride with any tension in the rain, you're basically asking the bike to crash. You're putting bad inputs into the bike, and you're not riding well. So it's a bit of a snowball effect. You feel better, you ride better, and riding in the rain can be fun, where it used to be pretty dangerous. So yeah, riding in rain mode or road mode on the dirt doesn't work so well, because on loose gravel or hills or sand, the traction control will stop you. It'll be sensing slip and taking power away to the point where you don't get up a hill. So Enduro ABS and Enduro traction control lets the back wheel spin a bit, and the bike is quite crashable. Like if you did that in the wrong place, you'd be on your ass. So it's letting in back wheel spin a bit but control the spin. But in the wrong situation, that's definitely enough to make you crash. You're still a rider. It's not a video game. So we'll watch Enduro traction control. You'll probably pick a bit of the loose stuff on the edges, apply the throttle. Smooth throttle input. So that's letting you steer with the throttle, but instead of the revs going as high as they want, it controls the wheel spin to a certain percentage. So Enduro and then Enduro Pro opens it up a little bit more. So loose gravel, gas on. It's very, very easy to crash. So don't think the bike is uncrashable in that situation. Because it definitely is. So that's why, you know, the rider training, we'll bang on about rider training a lot. Good throttle control. Like with brakes, good braking skills gives a better result whether you've got ABS or not. If because you're doing the good inputs. Good traction control, good rider skills with the throttle, give the best result with traction on or off, with or without. And a cowboy, he's riding a 1200 here, you could be doing like power slides from 2000 RPM if you want. If someone thinks they're on a old YZ125 and they're in first gear everywhere and they're smashing the throttle, it's going to hit the traction limit and cut and cut and cut, and they're going to go, this traction is bullshit, I'll turn it off. Really, the rider is the problem. So good inputs give the best result. But you can, with traction on, you can still get up loose hills as long as you've got momentum. If you stop and then try to go again, the traction might mess you up. So there's times to turn it off. Maybe you're stuffed up halfway up a hill, and then you should stop, turn it off and try again, or turn around, go to the bottom and have another go. Riding in sand, turn it off. Riding across creek beds where it's loose sand or rocks, river rocks underneath, turn it off. Know when to turn it on, know when to turn it off. Because when it's off, you're unprotected in some situations, but when it, it can be definite advantage to turn it off every now and then, depending on the situation. So that's the story. ABS, brakes, traction control, throttle. So in enduro mode, be bloody careful. On this stuff, there's a lot of rock and not much gravel. You might wind the throttle on and not get any wheel spin. That's fine. Don't go looking for crazy wheel spin, because if you find it unexpectedly, the bike is very crashable. We don't want your excess. We want shiny bikes. We don't want your excess. So be good about that. A little bit of loose gravel. The road used to be very gravelly. If you're riding over here and you go a little bit too wide and you end up in a muddy rut, ABS and traction control doesn't always help that. You know what I'm saying? Don't watch what Shane does and go, sick, I've never done that before, but I'm going to give it a red hot go. It can go upside down. So just be cool. If you want to pick that little bit of gravel, this is line selection, this is understanding grip levels. For sure, give it a bit of a punch in that and it'll probably spin and drop down on the camber and take off. But don't go upside down, whatever you do. We're going to leave traction on, we're going to leave ABS on, I didn't talk about that, but the flashing lights on your dash when you turn your ignition on means everything's on. They only stay on when you ride when you've deactivated, so we don't want anything turned off. Any questions? It's great when you get, on your own bike and you go to a gravel car park or a bit of dewy grass somewhere, like the local golf course, I'm sure they won't mind. And just have a play. First gear, take off, give it a punch. You go, oh, this bike, this would be hard to crack. And then with the ABS, do a couple of emergency brakes in a dry car park, and then if it's wet, do the same, or a little bit of gravel. And once you know how much your bike is on your side, you're ready for when crazy stuff happens. Enduro mode if you want. If you're unsure, leave it in road mode. Go from rain to road and then just give it some pumps like you did in the first demo. You can brake effectively on this stuff. No head-ons, no bikes upside down. Keep your excess.
That's is that your favourite miles, would you say, out of the lot?
Yeah,
because you've ridden a few obviously over the years.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I always used to love the adventures.
Yeah.
And I still do.
It's a great colour scheme too.
The Rallye X.
Yeah.
Like I got pretty close with that one. That's the one I raced Finke on, and
yes.
And that's like a long travel, Yeah. So they're all.
Did you modify that much for Finke?
No,
or not?
bugger
Just
all.
standard. Yeah.
Bugger all.
Yeah. Fantastic.
That was the whole idea. Do it on, do it on a stocker. So we took a standard bike, made a few minor adjustments. These little pads on the back that help you rest as you're standing up. It takes a bit of stress off the upper body. Extra long foot pegs with real sharp tips so the boots grip on. We extended the rear brake a bit higher because when you're leaning back it gives you a bit better access. We've got these lightweight valve cover protectors. Really sexy lightweight acro muffler. Makes a great note, makes it a bit lighter. It's oversized grips called grip puppies, just give you more padding and more cushioning for 500 k's of whoops, and some trick little billet aluminium brake levers that are nice and neat and curved for your fingertips. The Pirelli Scorpion Rallye rubber is one of the most aggressive off-road tyres for adventure bikes, and that's going to hook up really well in the sand. This adjustable gear lever lets me set up the gear lever for the right length and right height. On the front of the bike, we've got the headlight protector, radiator guards, and an adjustable steering damper just to give the front end a little bit more stability in the rough terrain. So 15 days from my home in Melbourne, Alice Springs, Finke, Simpson Desert, Birdsville and back home. Should be a lot of fun.